Isle of the Dead, a picture to dream over. Freud had a reproduction of the painting in his clinic. Lenin had a print of it on display in his office. Hitler even bought the third original version of the Isle of the Dead and showed it in the new Reich Chancellery in 1940. The early 20th century icon, the Isle of the Dead, was once so popular that Nabokov said copies of it were to be found in every Berlin home. From world leaders, intellectuals, and famous artists to middle-class housewives, the painting's appeal was shared by all. What was the nature of the spell that this painting cast on its viewers? What was the secret of that painting? And has this appeal faded today? Does the painting still inspire audiences in the same way it did then? And why?
This is the Island of Death. It's a painting by the Swiss artist Arnold Böcklin. And it's a very striking image because immediately you're struck by the monumentality. Huge rock formation in the middle of the canvas. And it's a very mysterious situation because as an onlooker, you don't know exactly what's happening within that rock formation. You see the trees, and you see the entrance clearly marked, but what is beyond that? That's still left uncertain. It's a very important painting because Böcklin did 5 versions of this, of which 4 are survived. One was bombed during the Second World War, and this is number 5, which you see here. It's specially made for the German Museum of Fine Arts in Leipzig. The first one he painted in 1880 in Florence, and when he was painting this first version, Italian lady came to see his studio and was immediately struck by this painting and wanted the second version for her husband, who had died a few years earlier.
At her request, Böcklin painted a smaller version on wood and added a white female figure standing next to the coffin, a reference to her late husband. Böcklin's intention was, in his own words, to paint a picture to dream over. The painting became hugely popular. The result was a picture for everyone to dream over. This was true even in a literal sense, as psychoanalysts reported several cases of patients who dreamt about the painting in their sleep. The painting also cast an undeniable spell on later generations of artists. Filmmakers, writers, musicians, painters, theatre directors, and choreographers all were inspired by it. The title alone was a source of inspiration for many artists who used its motifs. They modified the aesthetics of the painting or simply made their own versions of it. More than 50 years after the first version of the painting was made, the 1933 movie King Kong is an example of how the painting inspired popular culture. Clear similarities between the entry to Skull Island and the painting can be seen. And yet, what we witness here is not merely copying, such as that generated by a process of apprenticeship and diffusion. It's not just a rewriting of the theme or restructuring of a painting, like when we give the Mona Lisa a moustache. It's citing the painting as a reference, a kind of homage or a tribute, as we can see in L'Angelus del Mille by Salvador Dali. In another of Dali's works, True Painting of Isle of the Dead by Arnold Böcklin at the time of the Angelus, 1932, the painter uses the original work as a starting point, but leaves the viewers with few clues on how to read the painting. In doing so, the viewer has no option but to search for the parallels between the two. Several books were named after the work's title, or were inspired by the familiar boat scene. The Goddesses by Heinrich Mann, Mashenka by Vladimir Nabokov, Isle of the Dead by Roger Zelazny, The Crystal World by G.J. Ballard. After seeing a black and white copy of The Isle of the Dead in Paris in 1907, Rachmaninoff composed a symphonic tone poem in honor of the painting. The music begins by suggesting the oars of the ferryman Caron on the river Styx. The use of the recurring figure in 5/8 is believed to depict the rowing of the oarsman, a clear allusion to death. Yet, the 5/8 time also depicts breathing, and in doing so reflects how life and death are intertwined. Rachmaninoff seems to add to the existing symbolism a sense of the struggle of the soul. The painting also inspired many movies. The 1945 Isle of the Dead horror film tells the story of a young woman accused of being a vampire. In the film's first scene, a boat is seen approaching a backdrop of the Isle of the Dead. The isle itself is a secluded, plague-infested terrain. Val Lewton, the film's producer, seems to have been fascinated by this image and had used it before in I Walked with a Zombie, another horror movie he made in 1943. Apparently, he first saw the painting as a child, and it left a lasting impression.
I've got a little surprise for you, Peter Pan.
Drop the mantle!
Piano Tuner of Earthquakes, a 2005 movie made by the brothers Quay, is reminiscent of the topography of Böcklin's painting. The film is set in the secluded compound and asylum of a sinister doctor, resembling the painting's rugged, sun-bleached cliffs and ominous dark cypresses, which are often associated with Hades in Greek mythology.
Was it me stepping into a painting already painted?
The work has also been a recent source of inspiration for set designers of well-known productions of The Ring by Richard Wagner in 1977, Orfeo by Claudio Monteverdi in 1985, Théâtre, or The Isle of the Dead by O. Tae-sok in 2000, and Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake by the Rome Opera House as late as 2003. The painting was clearly influential, but are people still drawn to it in the same way today?
No, I haven't heard of it, no.
No, it's not familiar. I don't know the names of the painting.
No, we're not.
No?
Could you describe it? Yes,
Is it?
yes.
No.
Does the painting still trigger the imagination of its audiences?
That's the passage.
Oh, the
To the-
passage, and you think there's light in the end of the tunnel?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's cloudy and a lot of smoke, and it's like going to the underworld. It's like the river Styx.
No. It's like going to heaven.
Oh.
You first must pass the dark forest, and after that lies the nice heaven.
No. I think you go through the passageways of the dead first. And you see all these spirits.
Little pessimist.
I don't know, it looks a bit like something out of a Lord of the Rings type film. It looks very sort of imaginative, you know?
somewhere sort of mysterious, I think.
There, probably.
It just looks like an island.
Only black.
For like a port, like Victorial gates or something. It's monastic. It's like a monastery.
Believe it or not, the theme is even used in contemporary video games, such as the two 1993 games of the same name, and the famous bestseller Myst, which became a great hit for its ability to immerse players in a fictional world. When we research the painting nowadays, we shall inevitably come across a website called a kind of Wiki Toten Insel. This non-commercial website is the dedicated work of the French painter and Vauquelin enthusiast Pascal Lecoq. On it we find an impressive collection of related works inspired by the original piece, ranging from architecture through stage design, poetry, landscape gardening, comics, to dance and theatre. Gogh has been collecting these documents for over 30 years and continues to do so today. The site is an overwhelming tribute to the painting's ability to inspire and to all those affected by its powers of fascination. In another online post dedicated to the painting, John Coulthard tries to shed some light on this fascination when he writes, "Vauquelin has fixed a powerful image of an edge, a border somewhere caught between sea and land, calm and storm, day and night, life and death, reality and fantasy." Salvador Dali once said, "The quicksands of automatism and dreams vanish upon awakening, but the rocks of the imagination still remain." The rocks of Vauquelin's imagination continue to intrigue us with their enigmatic symbolism. It's as if the painting is a theatre backdrop that strikes a chord and draws the viewer in. Though the imagery is incredibly strong and pervasive, the canvas is still blank and intriguing enough for us to project our own meanings onto it. It allows our minds to fill in the blanks, as proved by the countless number of tributes to the Isle of the Dead that continue surfacing even to this day. The painting is as beguiling today as it was when it was first painted over a century and a quarter ago. Let it draw you in. See for yourself.